Father's Day, 5:12 p.m., Dayton, Ohio. The neighborhood smells like charcoal and cut grass. I'm at my kitchen table with a paper plate of potato salad and a neat little gift bag from my daughter Ava. The tissue paper still has store creases, like it clocked in 5 minutes ago. "Open it, Dad," she says. Tyler, my son-in-law, stands behind her like a coat rack with opinions. He gives me that enabler grin, the kind you practice in the mirror when you're scared to say no. I pull out socks. Navy. Price tag, $14.99, swinging like a punchline. I'm a retired mechanic. I appreciate practical. But this isn't practical. This is performative, a minimalist insult. "Useful, right?" Ava says. Her voice is honey over a razor. "You don't need fancy stuff." Tyler chimes in. "Yeah, Mike. You're simple." He means small. Narcissists love that word. I smile. I say thank you. That's what dads do when they're being gaslit by their own kids. We don't flip tables. We flip the page and take the next hit. 20 minutes later, they're gone. Dinner with Richard Collins, Tyler's father. "He's hosting," Ava said, like I should salute. The house exhales. The clock over the fridge ticks like it's filing a report. I make coffee I don't want and open my phone out of habit. Notification. Ava posted a story. Restaurant lights. Champagne. Richard's wrist cuts the frame like a commercial. On it, a Rolex Daytona ceramic bezel, steel bracelet. The kind that announces you before you speak. Caption. "To the best father-in-law, something that matches your class." My stomach drops the way engines drop when you misfire a cylinder. 2 months ago, Ava called me, whisper crying, "Dad, I need $10,000 for medical bills. It's urgent, please." I wired it within the hour. Bank of America domestic wire, Ava Reed. I still have the confirmation email subject line. Wire transfer completed. 10,000 and change. The number sits there like a bruise. I zoom on the watch. The rehaut's clean. The subdials are right. It's real. And my money is on another man's wrist while my gift is a pair of socks with a dangling barcode. My phone vibrates. A text from Ava. "Ava. You saw the post? Don't be dramatic." Me. "Was that watch bought with my wire?" Ava. "It's family money, Dad. Don't make this weird." Me. "You said medical bills." Ava. "You're being petty." There it is. The script. When toxic people steal, your outrage is the problem. I open my bank app. The ledger hits like winter air. The wire date lines up with a $10,200 retail price if you include sales tax in Montgomery County. I'm a mechanic, not a jeweler, but I know math and I know patterns. I check my email again. Another line of written evidence. Her thank you text from that night. "You saved me, Dad." Saved her from what humility? The guilt tries to climb up my throat. The voice that says, "She's your daughter." I breathe through it. Guilt is how narcissists pick your lock. I snap a screenshot of the story, the watch, the caption, the date stamp. I save the wire confirmation to a folder named Receipts. Boundaries aren't feelings, they're documents. Another text. "Ava. Do not make a scene. Tyler's dad is important to us." Me. "You called it medical. That's fraud." Ava. "It's not fraud if it's family. Stop acting like a victim." Gaslighting with a Hallmark font. I step into the garage. It still smells like oil and Saturdays. My late wife used to lean on that bench while I rebuilt carburetors in the future. I look at the old tin where we kept important things, birth certificates. The will from when Ava was 12. The one where I left her everything because love felt like infinity back then. I pop the tin. The will is still there, yellowed, loyal, outdated. I run a thumb over my own name and say out loud, "This is how they keep you on the hook, Ellen. You die once, boundaries die 1,000 times." My phone rings. Ava again. I let it go to voicemail. It immediately pings. Voicemail. "Ava. Dad, don't start. Tyler's dad deserves nice things. You've got a roof. You don't even wear watches. Stop being selfish." Selfish. After I sold my boat to pay her tuition and worked double shifts to cover her rent downtown so she could find herself. I guess she found Rolex. I open notes and type 2 lines I can't unsay. Freeze access. Update will. A new text arrives from an unknown number. Nora Bennett, attorney. Heard you might need help setting boundaries with toxic family. I specialize in financial abuse cases. First consult tomorrow, 9 a.m. Downtown Dayton. Bring written evidence. I stare at the screen. I don't believe in coincidence, but I do believe in timing. The clock on the microwave flips to 5:59. The second hand catches up. I put the socks back in the bag, tag and all, and set it beside the receipts folder. One is a prop, the other is a plan. I text Ava one last time tonight. Me. We'll discuss this after I review my bank accounts with counsel. Do not use my card again. This is your written notice. Send. The house gets very, very quiet. It's the kind of quiet you get after an engine stops knocking when you know the fix is going to cost you. But you also know you'll finally drive straight. I walk. Past the mailboxes with little flags up like white flags. Past the cul-de-sac where kids chalk dragons on the asphalt. Dayton wind smells like rain and lawn fertilizer. I don't bring a jacket. I bring my phone, the modern confession booth, and the ache you get when you realize your love made somebody lazy. Streetlight hum. My thumb opens Bank of America again. I scroll transactions like reading a diary I didn't write. Uber Eats, boutique candles, an athleisure store that charges more for leggings than I paid for my first toolbox. Each charge tied to Ava, authorized user. My name carries every swipe like a mule. I hit statements, download PDF. Month after month, the numbers line up into a story I refuse to read. I forward the files to myself with the subject, written evidence read V. Read in my head. A text flashes from Ava. Ava. Dad, stop acting like this is criminal. It's family. Me. Family isn't a debit card. No reply. Silence weaponized. I cut through the school parking lot. Friday night lights are off, but the scoreboard still ticks time in the dark. I remember selling the Lund fishing boat for tuition, Ava standing on the driveway, promising she'd pay me back when she's established. FAFSA wasn't enough. 529 was a joke after Ellen's treatments, so I signed a Parent Plus loan and smiled through it. That was the deal. I carry the weight, she carries the name. I pass the church. The bulletin board says love has no limits. I mutter. Boundaries do. A stray cat blinks like it agrees. Voicemail pings. Tyler this time. Tyler voicemail. Mike, hey look, Richard circles there. There's optics, man. The watch helps. Think of it like an investment in us. Investment. I pause under the sodium lamp. An investment that returns what disrespect? I say to no one. To everyone. Another memory. Freshman dorm move-in day. Ava and I wrestling a mini fridge up 3 flights. She cried because the room smelled like old ramen. I took her to Target, bought candles, and hope. I still have the Target red card receipt in my glove box. Fathers keep odd relics. I sit on the bleachers. The aluminum leaches heat from your bones. The phone camera turns on like it knows I need receipts that speak. I take a photo of the old will I found in the garage tin. My signature, big and generous, everything to Ava. It was love. It's now a liability. I add a note in Apple Files. Obsolete. Replace. Council review. A text pops up from a number labeled unknown. Unknown. Heard about the Father's Day thing? You good? It's Rudy, my neighbor who knows every rumor before the mailman. I type, me. Define good. Rudy. Saw Ava at Oakwood Jewelers last month. Big bag. Guess it was the watch? Oakwood. The name hits like a breadcrumb trail. I don't respond. Not yet. I file it in the folder in my brain labeled tomorrow. The guilt voice starts its monologue. She had a rough time after Ellen died. She needed kindness. You're overreacting. I answer it out loud. Steady and low. So the empty field can hear me. Was I enabling their toxic behavior all this time by being too nice? It's time to stop feeling guilty and start fighting back. Lightning far off. Midwest drama. I draft an email to myself because emails become exhibits when words fail people but timestamps don't. Subject. Timeline. Ava's requests versus charges. 3/15 $10,000 wire to Ava. Medical bills, emergency. 3/16 Oakwood Jewelers charged to $10. 2XX likely Rolex Daytona plus tax. 4 halves 5/28 pattern. Discretionary charges. Restaurants, boutique, rideshare. 06 divided by Father's Day socks $14.99 plus Instagram story Rolex to Richard. Attach. Wire confirmation. Screenshots. Story capture. Nora Bennett. Esquire draft. Unsent. I scroll the contacts until I find credit bureaus. I'm old school. I keep them saved. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. I type a reminder. Consider temporary credit freeze if Ava had any access to my SSN for cosigns. Pull annualcreditreport.com. Another text from Ava. This time a longer one. Ava. Dad. Stop making me the villain. Tyler's dad does more for us than you can imagine. He opens doors. You wouldn't get it. Me. I open doors. Garage doors at 5 a.m. For overtime. Doors to your classrooms. Doors to your apartment when you forgot your keys. You just didn't like the hinges. The 3 dots bubble. Then nothing. She's learning that silence is a better blade than words. I open notes again and build a checklist. Not feelings. Tasks. 1. Remove authorized user. Ava, from BOA Visa. Written notice. Call bank fraud line, flag misrepresentation, medical luxury. 3. Schedule consult with Nora. Bring PDFs, screenshots, voicemails. Draft revocable living trust removing direct cash inheritance. Update beneficiaries. Price Rolex resale. If recovered consignment versus buyback. Request bill of sale. If confrontation at house, request police civil standby to avoid escalation. I hear cleats on concrete. A kid jogs past, nods, keeps moving. I envy the uncomplicated physics of running. Push, move forward. No moral calculus. Just motion. The screen lights with a group text. I forgot I was on Read Family. Ava, me, and the ghost of simpler times. Ava. Folks, quick heads up. Any weird charges are just temporary holds. Don't freak out. She's ceding her alibi. I reply only to myself. That's what people write when they know the audit is coming. I long press her message. Tap. Save. Documentation over confrontation for now. I walk home a different route. Past the title and escrow office where I notarized the first will. The neon notary sign hums like an omen. I picture Nora sliding a new stack of papers across a conference table. Successor trustee, named, specific disinheritance clause drafted with a surgeon's calm. People think wills are about death. They're more about life without harassment. My phone buzzes with one last voicemail. A scorched earth one. Ava in full costume. Ava voicemail. If you cut me off, don't expect me at Christmas. Don't expect me at anything. Tyler says this is financial abuse. I replay the end twice. Financial abuse. That's the new tactic. Turn the mirror around and call it justice. I flag the file. Title it, Voicemail Threats, Divided by Leverage. Porch light, moths orbiting bad decisions. I unlock the door. The house is both too big and exactly right. I set my phone on the counter and lay out tomorrow's armor. Receipts folder, the old will, a legal pad with names, dates, totals, my life, itemized. I text unknown, Nora. Me. It's Mike Reed. I'll be there at 9. I'm bringing documents. Nora. Good. Bring the guilt too. We'll file it under irrelevant. I smile before I can stop it. Sharp. My kind of help. I pour water, stare at the socks in the bag like they're a crime scene prop. I pick up the tag and read it out loud. One size fits most. Not anymore. The size of me changed tonight. I open the junk drawer and find a Sharpie. On the paper bag I write 2 words big enough to see in the morning. No more. Upstairs, I pull the garage tin back out and add one more relic. A photo of me and Ellen at Indian Lake. Hair sun stupid, faces soft with a future we couldn't predict. I'm not trying to go back. I'm trying to go true. The house settles. Wood talks and old man creaks. I put the phone on do not disturb except for one bypass contact. Nora. If the night wants to scream, it can scream into a pillow. I'm done auditioning for the role of doormat. I turn off the light and let the dark do its job. Tomorrow, I stop being a cautionary tale and start being a case file. Morning hits like a verdict. I park in front of Oakwood Jewelers, the glass so clean it looks like money has a smell. I bring my receipts folder and a coffee I won't finish. This is not shopping. This is forensics. Door chime. Marble floors. Display cases that whisper status. A clerk in a tight suit materializes. Perfect smile. Quick scan of my boots, my age, my purpose. Welcome to Oakwood, she says. Name tag. Sierra. I need to confirm a purchase, I say. Calm, precise. I'm the cardholder. Sierra's smile trims itself. We take privacy very seriously. Good, I say. So do courts. Second to, it been like I've parted. I slide a printout across the glass. Screenshot of Ava's story, Richard's wrist, the Rolex Daytona, wire confirmation for $10,000, Bank of America statement showing a $10, 2XX charge on 3/16, last 4 digits of my card circled in red. Written evidence beats charm every time. Sierra's eyes flick to the back. A man in a navy blazer watches like a hawk that owns the sky. He walks over, sets down a loop. Manager, you can tell before he says it. I'm Ken Weaver, store manager. Voice like felt over wood. What's the concern, sir? Not concern. Verification, I say. I believe a Rolex Daytona was purchased here around March 15-16 using my card. I didn't authorize it for this purpose. I need to know if the transaction matches date, amount, last 4 digits. I'm not asking for names you can't give. I'm asking if my financial data lines up with your point of sale. Ken studies the printouts, then me. He speaks fluent liability. We'll check what we can legally confirm. He disappears behind a velvet curtain. Sierra offers water. I decline. I'm here to be dehydrated and believable. A text buzzes. Nora. At the jeweler yet? Me. In progress. Manager checking POS. Nora. Get limited confirmation. Date, time. SKU divided by serial format. Amount, last 4. Ask if they retain CCTV, and how long. Ask for a verification letter on letterhead, no names, stating a watch matching this model was sold on X, date, amount $10, 2X, card ending. That's admissible as business record. Me, copy. Ken returns with a tablet, careful like he's carrying a baby that belongs to a lawyer. We can confirm, he says, that on March 16th at 2:41 p.m., a Rolex Daytona, ref. 116500LN, was sold for $10,200.75 including tax. The card used ends in 4,217. He looks at my statement. That matches what you circled. Good. The click I feel is not anger. It's alignment. Facts sliding into place. Serial, I ask. We don't disclose full serial to non-purchasers, he says. Privacy, theft prevention. She had discreet deft. Understood. Will you issue a verification letter stating exactly what you just told me, no customer names on store letterhead, signed and dated? He glances at Sierra. Yes. We can provide a neutral confirmation letter for the cardholder. Add your CCTV retention policy, I say. If footage exists showing the purchaser at the counter on 3/16 2:41 p.m., note how long it's retained and how law enforcement can request it. Ken nods, not happily but professionally. Typically 30-60 days, but we archive high-value transactions longer. Law enforcement can submit a formal request. We comply. He gestures to a discreet camera bubble. Of course. Sierra prints a draft. Ken reads aloud the important line so the universe hears it. On March 16, 20, Oakwood Jewelers sold a Rolex Daytona ref. 116500LN for $10,200.75 to a customer using a credit card ending in 4,217. This statement confirms the transaction details only. He slides the letter to me with a pen. The paper is business weight, the kind juries respect. One more question, I say. Can you confirm if the purchaser presented as a young woman, early 30s, auburn hair, accompanied by a male with a trimmed beard? Ken's face stays Switzerland. We don't identify customers without a subpoena. Sierra clears her throat, then catches herself. The tell is microscopic, but I used to diagnose engines by the way a belt sounded under stress. Humans squeak too. Understood, I say. Then let me ask a yes divided by no you can live with. Did the purchaser verbally indicate the item was a gift? A beat. Ken measures the risk. The word gift was used in conversation. He says, that's all I can say. Gift, not medical. The word lands like a stamp across my wire confirmation. I sign for the letter. Sierra notarizes the manager's signature with the store's corporate seal, a flourish that's going to sing in any police report or bank dispute. As she slides the envelope across, she lowers her voice, not gossip, more like mercy. I can't discuss customers, she says. But if you're worried about fraud, you should call your bank's fraud department today and reference our letter. They'll know how to code it. I already have a case file name, I say. Boundaries. Door chime again. A couple walks in laughing, loud. The volume of people who believe they won't ever be audited by life. I step aside. My phone buzzes. Rudy, the neighbor. Rudy, remember I told you I saw Ava here? Pretty sure it was a Tuesday. She was with Tyler. He kept saying, babe, this is the one. I only mention it because he tried to hide the bag like it was contraband. Me. Thanks, Rudy. I screenshot, save under witness informal. You never know which small stone starts the avalanche. Another ping. Ava. Are you seriously at Oakwood? Tyler says he saw your truck. This is harassment, Dad. Me. I'm verifying my transaction. That's due diligence. Ava. You're embarrassing me. Me. Then stop doing embarrassing things. 3 dots. Gone. Shame doesn't like daylight. I stand under the awning and call Bank of America fraud. The hold music is the national anthem of people who trusted the wrong person. This is Angela, the rep says. How can I help? I'm the primary. An authorized user misrepresented a medical emergency to obtain funds used for a luxury purchase. I have written confirmation from the merchant of date, model, amount, and card ending. Angela turns into a metronome of empathy and policy. I'll file a fraud divided by misuse report, remove the authorized user, and place a monitor on your account. We can't reverse a charge that you initiated as a wire, but we can document misrepresentation for any civil action and help set alerts. Would you like to add a note to file that future verbal authorizations require password confirmation? Yes, I say, and send me the case number by email. I hang up with a new email. Case number B0A4217FRAUD. I forward it to Nora with the PDF letter from Oakwood. Nora replies in under a minute. Nora, clean. That letter is gold. Next, we paper the timeline. Then decide if we file a police incident report for documentation, not an arrest demand. Also, we'll prep to amend your will and establish a revocable trust as the primary beneficiary. Keeps the vultures guessing. Me. Can confirm the word gift in store. Me. Nora. Chef's kiss. That sinks the medical necessity story. Print 2 copies, one for me, one for your bank dispute packet. As I pocket the envelope, Sierra says, almost to herself, some people buy watches because time means something. Others buy them because empathy doesn't. I'm here for the first kind, I say. But I'll settle for evidence. And the braid on. Outside. The sun catches in the shop's logo. And for a second, it looks like a dial turning. Control isn't about shouting. It's about documentation. A final text from Ava, sharp as glass. Ava, if you keep this up, don't expect me at Thanksgiving. I start a new folder in Files Boundaries divided by threats. I drag her text inside. Not to punish her. To remember who said what when the nostalgia tries to rewrite history. I slide behind the wheel. The envelope sits on the passenger seat like a small, heavy truth. I'm not the guy who gets handed $15 socks and swallows it anymore. I'm the guy who asks for cereals and CCTV policies. I start the engine. Next stop. Nora's office. If part 1 was insult, and part 2 was clarity, then part 3 is proof. And proof is the only language toxic entitlement can't spin. Downtown Dayton, 9th floor. Glass and grit. Bennett Legal is 2 rooms and a view of a parking garage. It smells like coffee that did a tour in the microwave. On the wall, degrees, a framed traffic ticket someone beat on principle, and a corkboard labeled, Paper Beats Drama. Nora Bennett stands when I walk in dark blazer, sleeves pushed, hair in that don't try me bun. Eyes that sort receipts faster than scanners do. Mike Reed, she says, shaking my hand like a contract. You brought me documents or feelings? Documents, I say, lifting the receipts folder. But the feelings are riding shotgun. Good, she says, dropping into her chair. We'll file those under irrelevant unless a judge requests them. I slide the goods across. Bank statements, wire confirmation, screenshots of Ava's story and texts, and the Oakwood Jewelers verification letter on heavyweight paper that makes truth sound expensive. Though. Nora scans like she's reading a weather map. Okay. Pattern is clear. Misrepresentation to obtain funds, then luxury spend. Wire can't be clawed back the easy way. But this is textbook financial abuse dressed as family. We're not pressing charges today. We're building leverage. Oh, I'm not trying to put her in jail, I say. I'm trying to get my life back. Voo. Great, she says. Then we speak the only dialect narcissists can't translate. Boundaries in writing. VO. She clicks open a template. Keys chatter. Wha. Step 1. Remove Ava as authorized user done. Good. We'll memorialize that with a revocation notice to the bank. Step 2. Fraud. Divided by misuse case number. I give her B0A4217FRAUD. She nods, adds it to a header. Step 3. Demand letter to Ava and Tyler return the value or the item within 10 business days. No admission of guilt required, or we escalate. Police incident report for documentation, small claims or civil filing, and notice to relevant third parties if they keep using the medical story. In the Might Broger. Third parties, I ask. VO anyone they defame you to. We keep it narrow, she says. We don't bluff, we calendar. She swivels the screen. The letter is blunt without being bloody. Subject. Written notice of revocation and demand for restitution. Dear Miss Reed and Mr. Cole, this letter confirms revocation of any prior authorization to use Mr. Reed's accounts. Written evidence shows funds represented as medical were used to purchase a Rolex Daytona, Oakwood Jewelers, 3/16, $10,200.75. Card ending 4,217. You are hereby demanded to return the item or remit $10,200.75 within 10 business days. Absent compliance, Mr. Reed will file a police incident report for documentation purposes, initiate a civil action, and provide relevant parties with written evidence as needed. All further communication shall be in writing. Sincerely, Nora Bennett, Esquire. We send it certified mail and email, Nora says. The green card signature is your friend in court. Voo. She taps her pen. Next. Estate armor. Your current will? I slide over a photo of the yellowed document from the tin. VO. Everything to Ava. She reads, deadpan. Romantic. Also an engraved invitation for entitlement. I wrote it when she was 12, I say. When infinity felt affordable. We're going to make your love smart, Nora says. Draft a revocable living trust. You as grantor and trustee. Name a successor trustee who isn't Ava and isn't easily bullied. Assets flow into the trust now or by pour-over will. We add a specific disinheritance clause for any beneficiary who engages in financial coercion or harassment. That way, attempts to bully you don't pay. VO. Successor trustee? I ask. Though. Pick someone steady. If you don't have one, we can appoint a professional fiduciary. Short term, we can name me as emergency successor trustee while you think. Though. She types like a stenographer at a prize fight. Also, change POD divided by TOD designations on your bank and brokerage so they pay to the trust, not to people. Update beneficiaries on life insurance and retirement accounts, and set verbal password requirements on every bank line so authorized users or charming voices can't sweet-talk reps. What? I nod. What about if they show up at my house? Last night the voicemails got sharp. Nora pulls a half smile. We use police civil standby if you anticipate an in-person confrontation during any change like recovering property or changing locks. You call non-emergency, request a unit to keep the peace. They don't pick sides, they witness. Toxic people behave better when reality is watching. Downser like your, was be have renee. My phone lights up. Ava, of course. What? Ava. Text. Tyler says your lawyer is overreacting. Return the watch? Are you insane? Me. All communications in writing to counsel. Ava. You're weaponizing family. Nora. Dictating. You're attempting to weaponize guilt. We prefer written evidence. Nora gestures. Forward me that, she says. Every message. Don't argue. Archive. She flips a legal pad to a fresh page titled Operational Fixes and rattles them off. Credit freeze with Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You thaw for real things. They don't open store cards in your name. Switch your primary bank account to a new institution. Old account stays open with low balance for monitoring until the dust settles. Two-factor authentication everywhere. Authenticator app, not text. if possible. Bank alerts. Any transaction is greater than $200. Any change to contact info. Any new device login. Password for verbal authorizations, make it a nonsense phrase you'll remember. Make a contemporaneous log. Date, time, who said what. Juries love logs. You do this often, I say. More than I wish, she says, eyes softer for a flicker. Parents normalize bleeding if the knife is engraved. Family. She snaps back to steel. One more thing. Your house. Title is clean? VO. Paid off, I say. Deed in my name. Audible ever present. We'll prepare a quitclaim deed into the trust once it's created. She says, you keep control, but if someone tries a fake power of attorney or plays games later, the trust structure makes whiplash hurt less. My chest loosens a notch. I should have done this years ago. VO, you didn't need it years ago, she says. Toxic patterns mature like bad wine. You're on time. She prints the demand letter and slides it to me to initial. The office printer hums like a small engine learning to respect itself. We also file a brief police report, she adds, purely to timestamp facts. Not an arrest request. We bring the Oakwood letter, the wire confirmation, and the texts. If they later claim you went crazy, the record will calmly disagree. Understood, I say. She leans back, studying me like a witness and a person at once. Say the quiet part, she says. VO, what quiet part? The line you've been swallowing for 20 years. Vous. I look at the window, at a pigeon doing circles like it's failing a driving test. The words arrive the way truth does, late, obvious, necessary. I taught her that I would always say yes. Nora nods once, verdict and benediction together. Then today you teach her no. No is a boundary, not a betrayal. My phone buzzes again, Tyler this time. Tyler, text. Mike, let's be reasonable. Richard's network is bigger than your feelings. Don't burn bridges. What? Me. I'm rebuilding bridges on my property. You're trespassing. 1. Tyler, you can't do this. We'll talk to a lawyer. Nora, typing from her email. Please have your counsel direct all communications to my office. Further contact to my client outside counsel will be considered harassment. She hits send. The room gets an inch quieter. What if they double down? I ask. They will, she says. Expect DARVO deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. It's the narcissist playbook. That's why we don't argue. We document. I'm one of demand. She stands, sliding a thin stack into a labeled envelope. Read demand, divided by estate, divided by report. Bank, post office, for certified mail. Then the precinct. She says, after that we draft your new will and trust. I grip the envelope. It's lighter than the boat I sold for tuition, heavier than the $15 socks by a mile. At the door, Nora pauses. 2 more admin items, she says. Do not disturb on your phone, except me and 911. And don't explain your boundaries. Explaining is begging with grammar. The first clean sound I've made in a week. You always talk like this. Oh, only when it works, she says. And something changes in her face, some flicker I can't name yet. It looks like recognition. A breadcrumb I pocket without knowing why. Back in the hallway, the elevator dings. I step in with a stranger holding a vase of flowers. Anniversary, he says to nobody. Congratulations, I say. And mean it. The doors close on an office where paper beats drama. On a plan that doesn't scream, it signs. When the doors open, I'm already texting myself the next moves. Certified mail, police report, beneficiary updates, trust consult. The list doesn't make me smaller, it makes me solid. Outside, the sky is the color of a fresh start. I check my phone one last time. Ava hasn't written again. Good. Let her sit with silence for once. I've spent a lifetime carrying noise that wasn't mine. I head for the post office, envelope in hand. If part 1 was insult, part 2 was clarity. Part 3 was proof, then part 4 is strategy. And strategy is how you beat a narcissist without ever raising your voice. USPS first. The clerk weighs my envelope like it's dynamite. Certified mail, return receipt, Requested the green card that comes back with a signature and the date. I watch her stamp the corner CMRRR. That thud is the sound boundaries make when they land. 1. Delivery to 2 recipients, I say. Ava Reed and Tyler Cole. VO. She slides me a tracking number. I snap a photo and drop it in the boundaries folder. Paper beats drama. Bank, next. I choose a different branch than usual. New faces, fewer memories. Frosted glass, carpet that hides bad decisions. The assistant manager, name tag K, Patel, leads me to a desk. Wed. How can I help, Mr. Reed? 3 things, I say. Remove an authorized user. Add a verbal password. Set real-time alerts for anything over $200. Changes to contact info, or new device logins. Though, she taps, authorized user Ava Reed removed. You'll get an email confirmation. VO. Make the verbal password lemon socket, I say. V. She smiles at the weirdness, types it in. VO. Alerts are on, she says. Also, may I suggest opening a new primary account? We can keep this one at a low balance for monitoring, and move your deposits to a fresh account number less attack surface. VO. Do it. I sign. New routing and account numbers. New debit card impression on the portable printer. The warm plastic feels like a clean slate. VO. Anything else? She asks. VO. Flag my profile with a note that no one, family or otherwise, can authorize new cards or address changes without the password and in-branch ID. There. Added, she says. You'll get a case note number in your email. My phone buzzes before I hit the door. Email authorized user removal confirmation. Another. Security flags added. I forward both to Nora with the subject bank locks complete. The credit bureaus in the parking lot. I sit in my truck and open 3 tabs. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Credit freeze on all 3. I note the pins in a locked file. A reminder. Check annualcreditreport.com this weekend. Layered Armor, Midwest Edition. By the time I reach the precinct, USPS tracking already shows in transit, arriving on time. Boundaries travel faster than guilt. VO. Police station. Fluorescent lights. Coffee that died for nothing. The desk officer asks why I'm here. VO. Incident report, I say. Documentation only. Misrepresentation to obtain funds. Possible financial abuse. I have written evidence. VO Officer Daniels. Square shoulders. Monday jaw. Guides me into a small room. Nora slides in behind me. On time like trouble. Oh, state your summary, Daniels says, pen ready. I hand him a neat stack. Oakwood letter. Wire confirmation. Screenshots of Ava's posts and texts. The bank case number. The CMRRR receipts. My daughter claimed medical emergency. I wired $10,000. The next day, my card is used for a Rolex Daytona. The merchant confirmed date, amount, last 4, and that the word gift was used. VO. Daniels reads, eyebrows inching toward empathy. You're not asking us to arrest her. No, I say, just timestamp reality. If they file anything later, I want a neutral record saying what happened and when. He nods, types, incident number DTP235719, statement attached, evidence list appended. Nora adds, smooth as lacquer. Please append that the authorized user has been removed, that security alerts are active, and that a demand letter was sent certified. He prints the report. I sign, initial every page. Ink is a boundary that never raises its voice, though. We're halfway to the door when the lobby fills with a familiar perfume and a bad idea. Ava and Tyler. Tyler's holding a manila envelope like it's a hostage. Ava's mascara is courtroom heavy. Are you serious? She snaps, loud enough to satisfy a crowd. Filing a report on your own daughter? Nora steps between us without moving. Miss Reed, all communications go through counsel, though. Tyler raises his envelope. We're submitting a complaint for financial abuse. Cutting off family funds is elder neglect. I almost laugh. DARVO in the wild. Deny. Attack. Reverse victim and offender. Daniels doesn't love theatrics. If you want to file, you can file. He says. A policy recital. He glances at my stack. He's read my evidence. Fine. Ava jabs a finger. You're embarrassing me, Dad. I keep my voice measured. Embarrassment is a mirror. You don't have to look. Coursing. Nora hands Daniels a second copy of the Oakwood letter. For the cross-reference, she says, then to Ava. If you continue direct contact after notice to counsel, we'll add harassment to the log. Vo, Tyler mutters. We have a lawyer. Though. Great. Nora says, not blinking. Have counsel email me. Stop texting my client. We leave them in the lobby manufacturing outrage. The report in my hand says they can shout. The paper will whisper the truth when it counts. Oh. Outside, the sky decides on rain. Nora leans under the awning, flicks water off her sleeve. Phase 2. She says, estate armor. We draft the revocable trust tonight. Pour over will tomorrow. We also prep a one-page notice to Richard Collins' neutral tone, informing him that any representations of medical necessity tied to your funds are disputed and documented. Whoa. Protect him? I ask. VO, protect you, she says, and cut off the social angle. Narcissists feed on audiences. VO. My phone lights up with 2 new emails. USPS acceptance for both CMRRR letters. I forward them to Nora. Subject proof of service initiated. Oh ping. Bank alert. Attempted charge $2,487.19. Declined. Authorized user removed. VA. Immediately, a text from Ava. VA. Ava. My card got declined at Nordstrom. You're sick. V. I type and delete 6 different sermons. I settle on documentation. Me. As per written notice, access revoked. All communication through counsel. VO. I screenshot her text. File it under boundaries divided by enforcement. We hit the post office again to mail the Collins notice. Nora writes like a scalpel. Not accusatory. Not apologetic precise. Be advised, funds represented as medical were used for a luxury purchase. Documentation attached. No action requested. This is for awareness. In the truck, Nora pulls up a shared OneDrive labeled Read Case. Upload every PDF and screenshot there. Create subfolders. Bank, merchant, police, comms. Courts like neat. VO. So do mechanics, I say. VO. By afternoon, the green cards are on their way. The incident number is in my notes. The bank is on high alert, and my estate has a skeleton forming. We stop for coffee at a place that doesn't ruin it. VO. My phone buzzes. Unknown number voicemail transcribed. VO. Mr. Reed, this is Richard Collins. I received your notice. We need to talk. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., my office. VO. I look at Nora. She arches an eyebrow that means, good. Another ping, USPS tracking. Out for delivery to Ava's condo. Showtime. 5 minutes later. Ava again. This time feral. Ava. How dare you send legal threats to my home? You're dead to me. No. I forward to Nora. She replies to me, not to Ava. Add to threats divided by leverage. No response. We drive to my credit union to add the trust as pod divided by TOD once it exists. The manager explains the forms. I sign placeholders pending the trust name. The words successor trustee look back at me like a promise that someone sane will mind the store if I can't. Back home, I sit at the kitchen table where the $15 sock started all this. The bag is still there. Beside it, a neat stack. Incident report number DTP235719. Bank case number B0A4217FRAUD. Oakwood verification letter. USPS. Certified receipts. Plus tracking. Nora's demand letter. Copies. Collins. Notice. Copy. Why? I take a photo of the stack, print it, and pin it to my corkboard under a sticky note that says progress. Not revenge. Progress. VO. Night brings the usual choir of creaks. Do not disturb is on. Nora and 911 are the only exceptions. Still, the phone lights with one last unknown text, no number. Some app relay. You think paper will save you? We're family. I don't respond. I file it. Paper won't save me. I shut the house down, check the deadbolt, and lay the old will on the counter one last time. I touch my wife's name like a prayer, and slide it into the obsolete folder. VO. Tomorrow is Collins. After that, trust signing. If part 4 was strategy, part 5 is execution. Money locked, letters sent, cops notified. Toxic people speak in threats. I answer in timestamps. I turn off the light and let the silence finish the page. VO. 10 a.m. Sharp. Collins Manufacturing sits on the edge of downtown like money that learned to weld. Glass, steel, a lobby that smells like leather, and non-disclosure agreements. Nora meets me at the revolving door, coffee in one hand, a folder labeled Reed Collins in the other. The receptionist buzzes us through to a wood-paneled conference room with a view of cranes and decision-making. On the table, a velvet Rolex box, closed, like a confession with hinges. Richard Collins walks in 60s, power tie, the fatigue of a man who's seen supply chains and children disappoint in equal measure. Mr. Reed, he says, voice steady. Miss Bennett, he nods to the box. Let's start here. VO. He slides it to my side without flourish. I don't touch it yet. Nora doesn't either. Evidence waits for chain of custody. Before anything, Richard says, I received your notice. The wording was, careful. He looks at Nora. Correctly careful. Correctly careful. Neutral awareness, Nora says. No allegations. Documentation only. VO. Richard exhales. Good. Because I'm going to be careful too. He taps the box. This watch was presented to me by Ava as a gift for everything I do for them. I don't accept gifts that smell like problems. I asked my CFO to do a source of funds sanity check after your letter. The timeline matches your wire. The purchase at Oakwood Jewelers. I'm returning it to its rightful owner. We'll need a short memo for the file, Nora says, already pulling out a template. Voluntary return, no admission, acknowledgement that Mr. Collins did not have knowledge of misrepresentation at the time of receipt. Theo. He nods to his assistant through the glass. She slides in a printed memo on letterhead. Nora edits 3 words with a pen, initials the margin, slides it back. Collins signs. Though. Let's open it, Nora says as if she's calling a play. She snaps on non-latex gloves from her bag. Of course she carries them and cracks the box. There it is. Rolex Daytona Ref. 116500LN. The dial playing with light like it gets paid to. Will photograph front, back, serial location, Nora says. No full serial spoken aloud in the room. We'll capture it to a sealed page for the bill of sale later. She positions her phone, snaps evidence photos with timestamps, then places the watch back into the box like she's tucking in a witness. Collins reaches into a folder. You should also have this, he says, handing over a printed email thread. Ava mistakenly CC'd my assistant on something meant for Tyler. The subject line hits like a gavel. Stake plan using Dad's wire as optics. I read the first lines. Ava, from Gmail. Once the Rolex is on his wrist, we can talk family stake without it looking like we're begging. Dad wired. 10 Tyler. Make sure we frame it as support, not need. Day Tyler, from Outlook. Got it. Richard likes confidence. We'll mention medical stuff only if Mike pushes back. Though, the headers show date stamps, IP metadata sprinkled in the footer by some overachieving email client. It's not court certified, but it's smoke that points to fire. VO. Nora flips the page with 2 fingers. We'll request the original EML files, she says. Preserve headers. If needed, we can have them authenticated. VO. Collins watches me like he's gauging if I'll swing or sign. Mr. Reed, he says, softer. I have grown children. Entitlement is a corrosion. I didn't see it at first. That's on me. I look at the box, then at the email. I taught her I'd always say yes. I say. That's on me. That's. The room is quiet long enough to count mistakes. Nora breaks it with process, the humanitarian version of a torque wrench. Here's the path, she says. Mr. Collins returns the watch with a voluntary return memo. Mr. Reed acknowledges receipt. We take the watch to a reputable buyer for either consignment or buyback. Obtain a bill of sale with model, condition, and last 4 of the serial. Proceeds go where Mr. Reed directs. Separately, we archive the email thread and prepare a statement of facts. V.O. Collins nods. And from my side, he says, voice going corporate, Ava and Tyler will be persona non grata in any business conversation going forward. I will not be leveraged through gifts or guilt. Vo. A knock. His assistant reappears with a security printout lobby. CCTV. Still timestamp. June 16, 8:27 p.m. It shows Ava in the building lobby the night the watch landed, box tucked under her arm. Tyler grinning like he's won a game he didn't learn the rules for. The still isn't from Oakwood, but it's context. And context is adhesive for facts. We retain 90 days on lobby footage, Collins says. If you need a copy for law enforcement, my counsel will respond to a formal request. Theo. Nora doesn't smile, but her eyes do. We'll add that to the incident report as a supplemental reference, she says. Thank you. E. He clears his throat, suddenly just a father with expensive problems. For what it's worth, I'm sorry, he says. Not for the watch. I can afford watches for the message it sent you. If I'd known it was your money, I would have never let it touch my wrist. Vu. I appreciate that, I say. And I do. Apologies don't fix theft, but they recalibrate gravity. Nora slides the memo to me. Sign here to acknowledge physical receipt, she says. Chain of custody starts now. I sign. We photograph the signed memo beside the closed box. Though, Collins leans back. I assumed Ava would try to spin this, he says. She already texted me that you're ruining the family brand. That's quite a sentence. That. DARVO with a code of marketing, Nora says. Standard issue. Standard issue. Vo. My phone buzzes USPS. Delivered. The green cards are probably on a condo coffee table, next to a script that's falling apart. Another buzz. Ava. If you take that watch back, I will never forgive you. I forward it to Nora. She moves it to boundaries divided by threats, because that folder is becoming a novella. We close the meeting with logistics. Richard's counsel will email EML originals, plus a letter confirming the lobby's still retention period. Nora will send a thank you divided by acknowledgement note that says nothing extra. I will walk this box straight to date and time and trade the reputable buyer Nora trusts for an evaluation and offer. Vo. In the elevator down, Nora finally exhales. That went as clean as it gets, she says. He's not your enemy. That helps. V. He was the billboard, I say. Not the thief. Though. Outside, the sun throws hard light on the velvet box in my hands. It's heavier than the $15 socks, like a lesson is heavier than a joke. VO. Dayton Time and Trade sits 3 blocks over, wedged between a bakery and a vacuum repair shop that refuses to die. The owner, Marta, knows serial etiquette and resale math. Nora introduces us like she's marrying 2 spreadsheets. We do this right. Gloves on, photos, intake form with a line for provenance statement, where I write, returned by original recipient after documentation, established misrepresentation of funds. Marta logs condition, checks the rehaut, the movement sound, the subtle things that separate authentic from wishful thinking. VO. Buyout today is $9,800. Marta says. Consignment might net a bit more, but it could take months. Your call. V. I think of the clock I've been hearing for weeks. Time is the point. Buyout, I say. And a bill of sale with model, partial serial, date, and your business info. Vo. She prints, I sign. Nora watches the ink dry like it's an oath. The check is warm from the printer when it slides across. V. We step back into the street, lighter by 1 watch and heavier by 1 fact. We change the game. Ava can't point to Richard's wrist and call it status anymore. She can point to a bill of sale that says, simply, consequences. My phone buzzes. Email from Collins's counsel. The EML files attached. With a line I like, provided for preservation. No privilege asserted as to these specific communications. Nora smiles like she just found an extra bolt you needed. With a rada bling. Another ping. Rudy. Heads up. Tyler's been bragging to the guys at the gym that he handles all the online stuff for you. He said he knows your bank login. Sounded like a flex. The words tilt the sidewalk. Nora reads over my shoulder and her face tightens 1 notch. If he touched your account, she says, we'll see it. IP logs, device fingerprints. We subpoena if we have to. The day shifts from clean return to dirty trail in a heartbeat. The velvet box is gone, but a new box opens in my head, one labeled Access. VO. I text Boe from the app. Request device divided by access log for past 90 days. Attach incident number DTP 235719 and case number B0A4217FRAUD. The template response comes back. We'll email a summary within 48 hours. Duh. Nora calls it before I can. Part 7. She says. Eyes on the horizon. Enablers aren't just bystanders. Sometimes they're the hands on the keyboard. The wind picks up down 3rd Street, flipping the corner of the bill of sale in my folder like a metronome. Tick. We took back a watch. Talk. Now we go looking for fingerprints. The Bank of America email lands at 7:42 a.m., like a wrench dropped on concrete. The subject, device and access summary. Case number B0A4217FRAUD. Body, 3/16/911A. M. ET login via Chrome divided by Windows device ID, 3 farads, a 2, 71, CIP, 68.1, 12.53.19, Geo. Dayton, OH, approx. 3/16/914, AMET. Profile change, temporary address, added, later reversed. The 3/16/918A. M. ET wire beneficiary added, Ava Reed. 3/16/924 AM ET domestic wire initiated, $10,000. Though, 3/16/926 AM. ET. Login, ended. Note. IP 68.112.53.19 registered to Bright Sky ISP. Device not previously recognized on this profile. I forward it to Nora before my coffee finishes sighing. She calls in 5 seconds flat. Nora, that IP isn't your house. Me. Nope. The Nora. Bright Sky covers Ava and Tyler's building. The silence. The kind that rearranges a life. VO. In the same minute, Rudy texts from the land of gossip and gold. Though, Rudy, Tyler's Wi-Fi network at the condo is literally named Cole, Home 5G. I helped him set up a mesh last year. Bright Sky, dynamic IP. I don't need a courtroom to do that math. But Nora wants receipts that walk and talk. We send a litigation hold letter to Ava, Tyler, and Bright Sky. She says, already typing, preserve router logs, account logs, devices. We note spoliation if anything mysteriously disappears. 10 minutes later, my inbox dings with 3 PDFs. Litigation. Hold Ava Reed and Tyler Cole. Preserve all phones, laptops, tablets. Do not factory reset. Disable auto-delete. Preserve messaging, e-message, WhatsApp, email, .eml, and cloud backups. Preserve network equipment logs. Preservation request, Bright Sky, ISP. Preserve subscriber info for IP 68.112.53. 19 on 3/16/911/930 ET. Retain DHCP logs pending subpoena. Notice Bank Counsel. Please maintain device fingerprint metadata beyond standard retention. We drop them CMRRR and email. Green cards on autopilot now. VO. My phone buzzes with a new email. Collins HR on letterhead. Internal notice. Effective immediately. Ava Reed and Tyler Cole are barred from Collins manufacturing premises and communications channels. Any solicitation for family stake is unauthorized. R. Collins, CEO. The word barred reads like the sound of a door locking that should have been locked years ago. VO noon. Nora and I sit in her office with the Boe access log on the screen, the Oakwood letter to the left, the EML thread to the right, 3 columns that agree with each other more than family does. We make it plain, Nora says, clicking open a draft called Statement of Facts. 1. On 3/16, an unrecognized device. ID. 3 farads. A2. 71C. Logged into Mr. Blyke. Reads Boe profile from IP 68.112.53.19. Bright Sky, Dayton. 2. Within 15 minutes, the device added Ava Reed as wire beneficiary, and initiated a $10,000 wire. 3. On 3/16, 2:41 p.m., Oakwood Jewelers sold a Rolex Daytona for $10,200.75 to a card ending 4217. Mr. Reed's. 4. Email thread titled, Stake Plan Using Dad's Wire as Optics. References the wire and a strategy to frame it as support. Conclusion. Misrepresentation to obtain funds, with access likely from premises controlled by Tyler Cole. We're not accusing, we're presenting, Nora says. Judges eat clean timelines with a spoon. Oh. A calendar alert pops. USPS Ava delivery signed. 2 minutes later, my phone rings so hard it rattles the desk. Though, Ava caller, ID. I let it go to voicemail. The transcript blooms. VO, Ava, voicemail. You psycho. Tyler says he never logged into your bank. You set him up. This is harassment. I'm blocking you. This one to the gray Flint. Though. Text from Tyler follows predictably. Tyler. I'm a tech guy. If I wanted your login, I could have had it years ago. Stop lying to your lawyer. Oh, I type one sentence and send it through Nora, not to them. Me Nora. Please advise opposing to preserve devices. All future contact to counsel. Nora replies to them both from her firm account. Bye. Preserve all devices and accounts. Deletion will be treated as spoliation. Direct all communications to this office. Though. 3 dots blink, stop, blink again. DARVO is losing oxygen. Afternoon rain polishes the city. We drive to the precinct to file a supplemental report attaching the BOE device log and the litigation hold notices. Officer Daniels reads like a man who appreciates updates that fit on one page. This strengthens your documentation, he says, stamping the corner. No charges requested. Noted. Back in the truck, Nora's phone lights. Bright Sky ISP, legal replied. They'll preserve the DHCP logs for that IP for 90 days pending subpoena. It's not victory. It's gravity. At 6:03 p.m. the day tilts again. Richard Collins calls blunt as a press release. Mr. Reed, for your awareness, Ava emailed me a cease and desist draft amateur hour. I replied with counsel CC'd. Any further misrepresentation about medical funds will result in defamation action. She's panicking. Understood, I say. Thank you for the line. One more thing, he adds. I heard Tyler told people he manages your online accounts. If you need an affidavit that he claimed access, my HR director can provide one from the gym manager. He complained they're loud enough to build a choir. I look at Nora. She nods. Yes, witness statement will draft it as a declaration under penalty of perjury for the manager to sign. We hang up, and the street goes quiet in that Midwest way where you can hear your own next step. It finds me at 7:41 p.m., up on my porch, with the Rolex check copy in a folder and a pen that finally writes straight. Headlights crawl my driveway. Ava and Tyler. Nora warned me for this exact scene. Civil standby if needed. No arguing on the lawn. I tap non-emergency on speed dial and say the script. Potential dispute at my address. Request civil standby to keep the peace. Dispatch says a unit is nearby. The doorbell rings like an alarm trying to disguise itself as hospitality. I open the door, chain on. Well, Ava starts without breath. You're destroying us. Tyler could lose his job if this gets out. Take it back. Tell the bank it was a mistake. Tell Collins you overreacted. Invitation. Tyler steps forward, palms out, the enabler rehearsing remorse. Mike, look man, we got in over our heads. Can we just reset? We'll pay you back, eventually. Though, in writing? I ask. With an admission of how you accessed my account? With a repayment schedule and consequences for default? My voice is steady. My heart, for once, keeps up. VO, don't be toxic. Ava spits. Family doesn't need contracts. VO family shouldn't need police incident numbers either, I say. Yet here we are. The red and blue wash the curb. The officer parks, steps out, posture neutral. Everything okay here? We're fine, officer. I say. Calm as paperwork. Just setting boundaries. Agendine. VO, he's lying about bank logs. Tyler blurts. Anyone can spoof an IP. Good news. I say. Courts love device fingerprints more than Reddit threads about spoofing. The officer gives the standard speech about public sidewalks and private porches, about leaving when asked. I turn to my daughter for what feels like the last time I get to choose a tone with her. Vo. Ava. I say quietly. I love you. I always will. I am done being your account. Vo. Her face hardens into something that looks like glass just before it shatters. I hate you, she says. It's a teenage line delivered by an adult who should know what it costs. She pivots, heels snapping. Tyler follows, muttering about lawyers into a phone that won't save him from metadata. The officer nods once to me, leaves. The street exhales. Inside, I log the encounter. Date. Time. Names. Summary. I add the dispatch number. I file it under police divided by supplementals. My house is quiet in a way that isn't empty, it's honest. My email chimes. Gym manager declaration draft from Nora's paralegal. On or about June 10, I overheard Tyler Cole state, I handle Mike's online stuff. The old man doesn't even know his bank settings. He made similar statements on May 29 and June 3 inches. The presence of members A, B, and C, D. I declare under penalty of perjury. What? I.e. sign send back. Another domino that doesn't raise its voice when it falls. Vo. I sit at the kitchen table where the $15 socks still wait like an opening joke we've all outgrown. I think about the sentence I spoke in Nora's office. I taught her I'd always say yes, and I write the counterweight on a yellow pad. V. Saying no isn't punishment. It's graduation. The phone lights one last time, Nora. Nora, you held the line. Proud of you. Tomorrow trust documents. And there's something I should tell you before we sign. It may explain why I take these cases so personally. I stare at the screen. Part 8 is walking down the hall. The first twist exposed an enabler. The second is about to explain an ally. The 9 a.m. The conference room at Bennett Legal is cleared like a surgical tray. Revocable trust, draft on the left. Pour over will, draft on the right. A neat stack of beneficiary designation change forms in the middle. A small, square notary stamp waits like a period at the end of a long sentence. Nora walks in with 2 coffees and a look that says both business and unfinished business. B. Before we sign, she says, setting a mug by my elbow. You should know why I take these cases the way a firefighter runs towards smoke. I nod. Go on. She doesn't theatricalize it. She files it. V. My mom was widowed at 49, Nora says. My older brother decided grief meant access. He put himself on her bank accounts as an authorized user to help, learned her security answers, started running small charges that weren't small. When she pushed back, he pulled the DARVO routine. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, and called it family duty. She felt crazy. That's what gaslighting does. Vo. The room shrinks to fit the truth. Vo. She called her pastor. He told her to be long-suffering. She called me. I told her to get a lawyer. Me. A brief, humorless smile. We removed him from the accounts, froze credit, filed a police incident report just to timestamp reality, and rewrote her will and trust to reward care, not pressure. He hated me for a year. Then, quietly, he got sober on the entitlement. Anyway, we speak now. With boundaries. She slides a pen toward me. That's why I'm precise. Paper doesn't play favorites. It protects the tired. ZOK, something unclenches in my chest, an old knot of shame that thought maybe I was the only father raising a narcissist with enablers in a zip code full of good lawns. Though. Thank you, I say. 2 words, heavier than they look. Let's sign. Nora straightens the stack. Walk through, then ink. Think to that come to is better. You. She taps the first document. Read revocable living trust. You are grantor and trustee while alive and competent. Successor trustee. For now, me, Nora Bennett, purely as a professional fiduciary until you designate a permanent choice. This isn't power to spend. It's power to administer according to the document. She flips to a bolded clause. Specific disinheritance divided by conduct clause. Any beneficiary who engages in financial coercion, harassment, or misrepresentation toward the grantor may be removed as a beneficiary in whole or part at the trustee's discretion. upon written findings attached as an exhibit. Translation: pressure doesn't pay. Next page. No contest clause, in terra rem. If someone files a bad faith challenge, they forfeit any conditional gift they might have had. We don't silence legitimate claims. We put a price on tantrums. VO. She marks a tab. Pour over will. Anything you forget to title into the trust during your lifetime pours over at death, so assets end up where your rules live, not where Ava writes her emails. 1. Another tab. Beneficiary updates. Will change pod divided by TOD on your bank and credit union accounts to the trust. Same for life insurance and IRA custodians. Beneficiary becomes read revocable living trust. That keeps probate light and nosy people out. VO. She flips to a one-pager. Healthcare, power of attorney, and HIPAA. Two separate things. We appoint someone you trust, not Ava, to make medical decisions if you can't, and we authorize them to see records. Abusers like to wield medical crises as leverage. Make it my neighbor Rudy for healthcare, I say. He's blunt, and he shows up on time. VO. She makes the change without commentary, just a checkmark that sounds like relief. Oh. Home title. Nora continues. We'll record a quitclaim deed moving your house into the trust. You still live there. The trust just wears the title. This frustrates future fake POA games. VO. I sign each explanation with a nod. The roadmap is solid. Guilt has fewer places to hide on paper. VO. She slides over a final document. Communication protocol. Notice. It's a letter we'll send post-signing. All communications must be in writing to counsel. Phone calls and pop-up visits will not be acknowledged. It's not mean, it's policy. VO. My phone buzzes Ava, because of course. I flip it face down. Do not disturb holds the line. One more disclosure, Nora says, softer. Clients sometimes mistake my intensity for anger. It's not. It's prevention. Watching my mom get talked out of her own reality made me weird about receipts. I'll always push for time-stamped truth. VO. Keep pushing, I say. It's working. Oh. She clicks the pen. Then let's make it official. VO. Signing begins. She reads the notary script. I confirm identity. The stamp lands thunk every few pages. Initial here. Full signature here. Date there. The rhythm is almost musical. The sound of a life putting itself back in order. Between signatures, Nora pushes a small envelope toward me. Donor Advised Fund Starter Kit, she says. If you decide later you want to funnel part of your estate or found a small vocational scholarship for kids who choose tools over tuition, this makes it easy. Today, we at least name the trust's charitable intent. You can edit percentages anytime. And never die this. V. Tools over tuition. I repeat, smiling at the irony that I sold a boat to pay for a diploma that bought me a Rolex receipt. Yeah, let's seed that. VO pen again. Another thunk. VO. We finish in an hour that feels like a season. She gathers the signed originals, slides my client copies into a red folder labeled Read Executed. The color looks like stop, which is fitting. Logistics next, Nora says, pivoting to checklist mode. We'll record the deed with the county. I'll courier POD divided by TOD changes to your bank and credit union with the trust certificate attached. You'll call your IRA custodian to swap beneficiary to the trust. They'll have their own form. And Ava? I ask. The name tasting different now, less sacred, more specific. The demand clock is ticking, she says. 10 business days. If they don't return funds and continue contact, we file a limited civil action and a protective order if needed. But here's the secret. Sometimes, once paper shows you mean it, the theatrics die off. Sometimes, the door knocks. Paralegal pops in with 2 green cards, USPS return receipts. One signed A. Read, 1 T. Cole. Proof that the letter didn't just leave, it arrived. Nora smiles without teeth. Service perfected. VO. I stand, folder under my arm. The room feels bigger, or maybe I do. At the door I pause. Oh. You said your brother got sober on entitlement, I say. How? Nora thinks once before answering. Consequences, she says. No rage, no sermons. Just consistent, quiet consequences. That's the only rehab entitlement understands. V. On the sidewalk. Dayton hums like a machine that wants to work. The sun hits glass, makes everything look a little cleaner than it probably is. My phone vibrates with a voicemail transcript from Ava. I don't listen to, just file. Then an email from Marta at Dayton Time and Trade. Check cleared. Attached. Bill of sale and 1,099 copy for your records. I drop both into case merchant. Why? I text Nora even though she's walking 10 steps ahead. Thank you. Not just for the law. For the story. VO. She glances back, half smile, half warning. Don't make me sentimental, read. We still have part 9. VO part 9 is conversion pain into policy, money into meaning. Today's twist didn't expose a villain. It exposed an ally, why she fights, why she's relentless, why boundaries aren't just a tactic but a culture you build around yourself and the people you love enough to stop enabling. I head to my truck and place the read executed folder on the passenger seat, like a person. The socks bag rides shotgun too, a relic and a reminder. The engine turns over clean. For the first time in a long time, so do I. Noon light in Dayton makes the courthouse steps look like a checklist. Nora hands me a slim envelope, the recorded quitclaim deed stamped and scanned. County seal pressed like a thumbprint from authority. VO. Your home is now titled to the Reed Revocable Living Trust, she says. Same keys, cleaner title. Probate gets a lot quieter. VO. I nod. In my pocket, a second envelope. Dayton Time and Trade's bill of sale, and the check copy $9,800. The watch is already a line item. Poetic justice accrues interest if you move fast. VO first stop, credit union. I slide the trust certificate and POD, divided by TOD change forms across to the manager. He stamps, initials, staples like a man who understands that peace has paperwork. When you die, he says, not unkind. These accounts pay to the trust, not to any individual. Keeps fights out of lobbies. VO. Good, I say. I'm done hosting fights. The second stop, IRA custodian, phone tree purgatory, then a human who says, beneficiary, updated to Reed Revocable Living Trust, will mail a confirmation. I ask for an email too, written evidence. The only language regret respects. Third stop, Dayton Youth Shelter, a red brick building that smells like coffee, laundry, and hope that's seen rain. The director, Miss Alvarez, meets me in a conference room with laminated rules on the wall. Respect. Curfew. No drugs. No excuses. V. I place the check on the table. For emergency beds, meals, whatever makes we have room and answer more often. VO. She blinks back a dozen responses and chooses the one professionals use when they've learned not to spook kindness. We'll put it to work today. VO. I have conditions, I say. And she tenses like she's been here before. I hold up a hand. Not the bad kind. Transparency. Send me a donation receipt. Line item the first spend. And if you can name one thing this buys so I can picture it when noise tries to rewrite history. V. She smiles, real this time. Receipt today. First spend. 10 bus passes, 2 weeks of meals, lockboxes for kids' IDs, and we've got a teenager who just got a job but needs work boots. I'll make sure he has them by Friday. Make it steel toe, I say. Size. We'll find out. VO. She hands me a form. I check the box for acknowledgement letter and no public listing. The world doesn't need a plaque with my name. I need a PDF with a timestamp. On the way out, a kid in a hoodie holds the door. Thanks, sir, he mumbles to nobody in particular. The clock in my head does that thing where it ticks forward instead of back. In the truck, my phone dings shelter at Dayton.org. Donation acknowledgement attached. I open the PDF. $9,800 received. Date. EIN. Signature. I save it to case merchant conversion and send a copy to Nora with the subject, Rolex Shelter. Complete. E. She replies, that's the opposite of laundering, call it value washing. Nice work. Next. The donor-advised fund starter kit she gave me. I open the portal and seed a small amount from my checking, just enough to create a named bucket for a future vocational scholarship. Tools over tuition. I don't have to fund it big today. I just have to name it so it exists outside my head. Rudy texts because Dayton is small and nosy in ways that are good for you if you let them be. Rudy. Heard from Miss Alvarez, work boots ordered. Kid's name is Deshaun. Size 11. You did a decent thing, Reed. I type back. Decent is a start. Vo. Afternoon. Nora and I sit at my kitchen table, the battlefield that became a boardroom. She flips through a thin accordion file that used to be chaos. Quit claim deed recorded. Trust executed. Pour over will executed. POD. Divided by TOD changes submitted. IRA beneficiary confirmed. Donation receipt shelter. Bank alerts active. Incident report plus supplements. Demand letters delivered. Green cards. This, she says, tapping the stack, is a defensible life. No noise. Just structure. So. My phone vibrates with a new email. Richard Collins, subject, acknowledgement. Mr. Reed, thank you for the professional handling. I'm instituting an internal policy. No personal gifts over $100 to executives. Consider this a house rule inspired by your mess. Attached. Our formal counsel letter lobby footage preservation. I forward to Nora and file under third parties. Collins. Was. Ping. USPS. Return receipts scanned and viewable. Ava's signature is a scribble that looks like a shrug. Tyler's is a straight line like he's signing for a package, not a boundary. A text chimes from an unsaved number, turns out to be the gym manager. Gym manager. Signed the declaration about Tyler's bragging. Happy to hop on a call if needed. Though. I loop Nora in, because chain of custody isn't just for watches. We take a walk through my house, like it's a site survey. On the mantel, the stopped clock. I take it down, pop the back, and replace the battery that died sometime between Helen's last laugh and Ava's first grievance. It clicks to life, talk, and the sound is corny and exactly right. You're really into symbolism. Nora says, dry as lint. VO. It's not symbolism, I say. It's calibration. The front door camera pings. A delivery. USPS again. Inside the envelope. Ava's reply typed in a hurry by someone who thinks formatting is a power move. I read it while Nora reads my face. We deny misrepresentation. Your wire was voluntary. The watch was a legitimate gift. Family has no obligation to repay. And if you continue harassment, we will seek damages. Though, Nora circles one line with her finger. We deny misrepresentation. Then what's this? She holds up the Oakwood letter and the .ml thread, that subject line, using Dad's wire as optics. She doesn't need to say the rest. We've got a timeline that refuses to dance. VO, we don't respond to this? I ask. They respond by not responding, she says, unless they do something actionable. The demand clock keeps running. Evening comes with that Ohio blue that makes you forgive a lot. I drive back to the shelter with a receipt printer I had in the garage, a leftover from the shop, and a plastic bin of brand new locks I grabbed at the hardware store. Miss Alvarez laughs when I show up like a donor who can't stop fixing things. You a handyman too? She asks. Mechanic, I say. I believe in tools, and I like when records print clean. She hands me a photo on her phone. Deshaun, grinning in steel-toe boots, laces like confidence. He starts at the warehouse Monday, she says. Said to say thanks to the stranger who thinks boots are better than bracelets. Tell him he's not wrong, I say. Back home, I lay the $15 socks on the table next to the donation receipt. Opening joke, closing argument. I take a picture of the two side by side and drop it into case motif. If nostalgia tries to argue for weaker boundaries later, I'll show myself the photo and rest my case. My phone lights. New device login attempt blocked. Someone's still trying doors that don't open anymore. I screenshot the alert. Add it to bank, divided by alerts, and send Nora a thumbs up she didn't ask for. She texts back. Boundaries held. Sleep. Then a second text. Tomorrow we close the loop with a short lessons learned for your file. People relapse into guilt. Paper prevents backsliding. I stand in the kitchen, listen to the clock that finally keeps time, and say the line I wrote in part 7 out loud so the drywall can memorize it. Saying no isn't punishment. It's graduation. I turn off the lights. Part 9 isn't revenge. It's conversion of money into meals, of insult into policy, of a father into a man with boundaries and a plan. Tomorrow is the debrief, the part where you name what went wrong, what you fixed, and how not to repeat the class. VO, Saturday morning at the high school field. Dew on the 50-yard line. Empty bleachers humming with old echoes. The scoreboard clock idles at 0, not out of time, just ready. That's what this part is, the debrief, not vengeance. Calibration. If you heard the first 9 parts, you know the shape of it. Insult, clarity, proof, strategy, execution, returns, fingerprints, motive, conversion. This last part is where I say the quiet lessons out loud so I don't forget them when nostalgia comes dressed as guilt. VO, psychology first. VO1, toxic is not equal to loud. Sometimes it's a soft voice saying, "Don't be dramatic." Toxic can be a $14.99 tag that says, "You're small," followed by a photo that says, "He's big." It's the dissonance that gaslights you into thinking your hurt is the problem. VO. 2. Gaslighting loves vagueness. It's family money. You're petty. Stop acting like a victim. None of these are facts. They're fog. The cure for fog is facts with timestamps. VO3. Entitlement recruits enablers. Tyrants need a choir. In my case, Tyler played logistics, jokes, access, optics. Enablers aren't neutral, they're the hands that do the quiet part of the harm. VO4. DARVO is a script. Deny the act, attack your response, reverse victim and offender. If you hear it, stop arguing. Start documenting. VO5. Boundaries are not meanness, they're maintenance. A fence doesn't hate what it keeps out. It protects what it keeps in. Legal and financial next. I'm not your lawyer. I'm a man with recent homework. VO.A. Paper is greater than performance. Screenshots, bank logs, merchant letters, incident numbers, return receipts that stack on my table did more than 1,000 hallway fights ever could. VO.B. The incident report is not a threat. It's a timestamp. I asked for documentation only. When lies get theatrical later, the report stays boring and true. Z. Demand in writing, with a clock. Certified mail return receipt. 10 business days. Not a roar, a deadline. Return the item or remit $10,200.75. VO.D. Account, hygiene. Remove authorized users. Add verbal passwords. Turn on alerts. Open a fresh account. Prefer authenticator apps over text codes. Credit freeze the bureaus. And save the pins like they're season tickets. VO.E. Preserve. Don't pontificate. Litigation hold letters to the people and the ISP. Do not delete. Do not factory reset. We will notice spoliation. The mere word makes careless people careful. VO.F. Estate armor. Revocable living trust. Pour over will. No contest clause. Specific disinheritance for coercion. POD divided by TOD to the trust. Quit claim deed for the house. Probate stays light. Bad actors stay hungry. VO.G. Civil standby. If a showdown feels likely, you don't need a hero. You need a witness. Request a unit to keep the peace. The presence of reality reduces performance art. VO.H. Third parties. A neutral notice to Collins ended the social leverage. We didn't ask him to pick a side. We gave him facts. Adults don't like being used as props. Conversion beats retaliation. The Rolex became bus passes, meals, lockboxes, and boots for a kid named Deshaun. That's not sainthood. That's sanity. Make the money say something true. VO. Practical checklist for the version of me who might forget. Stop the bleeding. Remove users, change logins. Alerts on. New account. Capture the scene. Screenshots. Merchant verification letter. Bank device log. EML. Emails. File the timestamp. Incident report. Documentation only. Serve the clock. Demand letter by CMRRR. Save green cards. Freeze exposure. Credit freeze all bureaus. Verify no new lines opened. Fortify the estate. Execute trust and pour over will. Retitle house. Update POD. Divided by TOD. And beneficiaries. Control contact. All communications in writing to counsel. Do not disturb exceptions. Your lawyer and 911. Preserve evidence. Litigation holds to parties and ISPs. Log every contact. Narrate with numbers. Keep a contemporaneous timeline. Dates, amounts, what changed in your account and when. Convert the insult. Aim some proceeds at a good that outlives the noise. What changed in me? Vi. I used to think love was saying yes until it hurt. Now I think love is saying no before it has to. No to lies dressed as emergencies. No to family as a password. No to the version of me that kept paying for access to a daughter who sold optics to a room full of strangers. I also learned this: forgiveness and boundaries aren't opposites. Sometimes I love you and stay off my accounts are the same sentence said two ways. If she ever wants repair, the price is truth plus responsibility, not amnesia. VO. The clock on the scoreboard blinks to 12 when the groundskeeper tests a switch. I smile. Time isn't healing everything. Time is just the stage manager. You heal what you name, you keep what you structure, and you move on by moving papers signed, accounts locked, money pointed somewhere better. VO. For anyone hearing this who recognizes their own kitchen table, you're not crazy, you're not cruel, and you're not late. Start with one document, send one letter, make one call, replace one battery in the clock you've let sit quiet because it hurt to hear it tick. My last act today is almost petty and exactly right. I fold the $15 socks and drop them at the shelter with a note. One size fits most, boundaries fit me. Miss Alvarez laughs when she reads it. I laugh too. VO. Back home, I pin a single page above the corkboard stack, lessons learned bullet points in thick Sharpie. Underneath, in smaller print, I write the line that will keep me honest when memory gets theatrical. Saying no isn't punishment, it's graduation. IS. The house is quiet, not empty, honest. The clock keeps time, and for the first time in a long time so do I. Here's where I land after all of it. Protecting your peace isn't cruelty, it's hygiene. The biggest lesson I learned is that no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone an essay for locking your doors, your accounts, or your calendar. If someone calls your boundaries toxic, remember, healthy people don't need you exhausted to feel loved. Gaslighting, DARVO, and enablers all thrive in fog. Paperwork, timestamps, and quiet consistency are the headlights. Also, love and limits aren't opposites. You can care about someone and still refuse to bankroll their bad behavior. My brain feels quieter because I stopped debating feelings with people who only respect receipts. Sleep got better when I put policies where guilt used to live. If you're standing where I stood, start small. One document, one alert, one demand letter, one conversation that ends with all communication in writing. Replace the battery in the clock you've been ignoring literally or metaphorically. It reminds you time still belongs to you. Now I'll toss it to you, Reddit style. AITA for what I did. Was I too harsh for cutting off access, filing an incident report, and turning a Rolex into bus passes and steel toe boots? What would you have done in my situation? And for those who've walked this road, have you dealt with an entitled family member who treated your wallet like a public utility? Share your survival tips in the comments. Scripts that worked, boundaries that held, resources that helped therapists, legal steps, financial hygiene. Somebody scrolling right now needs a template, and your story might be the one that gets them to say the first hard no and mean it.